Hello student. So today I am going to revise chapter number 12, that is MySQL. MySQL, it is one of the popular relational database management software. It is released under an open source license. It requires no payment for its use. It is reliable, fast and easy to install. It is highly portable and hence can be installed on several platforms. MySQL is capable of handling large data sets and is essentially used for web-based application. A platform-independent application, it can work on various operating systems such as Unix, Linux and Windows. Okay, so student, MySQL, this is one of the most popular relational database management software and it is very easy to use as because you can download the MySQL server or RDBMS software from the internet free of cost. Okay, that means you no need to pay for its use and it is reliable and fast and it is highly portable. That means you can install it using any type of operating system. That means it supports many different types of operating software that include Unix, Linux, Windows, etc. Okay. Now next, move to SQL commands. Okay. MySQL support standard SQL, which is the standard language for communicating with an relational database management system. That means MySQL commands are basically used to communicate with the RDBMS software. Okay, SQL consists of number of commands for this purpose. Okay, so we are going to use many different type of commands which are used to communicate with the relational database management software, and these SQL commands are divided into 5 categories. Number 1, DDL, that is data definition language, and this definition language or the DDL commands are used to create the structure of the database. Okay, it is related to the structure of the database. That is, the statement in DDL are used to define the database structure. Okay, and these include create, alter, drop, truncate and comment command. So we have different type of commands that are included in the DDL, that is data definition language, and these languages are basically used to create the structure of the database. Okay, the next one is DML, that is data manipulation language, and these data manipulation language are used for managing the data. As you know that the data plays a very important role in any type of database management software, and these data are managed in MySQL by DML command, that is data manipulation language. Okay, and these include select, insert, update and delete command, which are used to retrieve and manipulate data in MySQL. So we have many different type of commands that is included inside the DML, that is select, insert, update and delete. Okay. Next, the third one is TCL, that is transaction control language. This transaction control language and this third type of commands include commit, rollback and set point command, and these commands are basically used to manage the changes that are made by the DML statement. Actually, using the DML command, we manage the data. We are going to managing the data of the database, and this managing data are again TCL statement are used to manage the changes made by the DML. Okay, next move to the fourth number of command, that is DCL, that is data control language. These statements are used to give or withdraw access privilege to the database user. It includes grant, revoke command. That means the DCL data control language include two commands, and these commands are used basically to give the authority or to withdraw the access privilege of a user. Okay, that means by we can give access authority to a person to a particular database by using the grant command, or you can withdraw the access privilege by the revoke command of the DCL, that is data control language. After that, the last one, the number 5 command, that is DQL, that is data query language. This includes select, show and help command. Okay, and in this third type of language, that is that fifth type of language, that is data query language, that include select, show and help command. Okay, and the select is the main DQL statement. Okay, and among the three, the select is one of the most important one, as because we are going to use the select command in the in our application. Okay, now student move to how to start the MySQL. Okay, to start the MySQL using your computer, what to do? You have to click the start button, then go to all programs. Okay, in the all program list, you notice there is a software present, that is MySQL. You click the MySQL, then when you click the MySQL, then after that you move to MySQL Server 5.2, then you move MySQL 5.6 command line client. Okay, so these are the steps that should be followed at the time of starting the MySQL on your computer. And student, the MySQL Server 5.6, this 5.6 is the version number of the MySQL software that is installed from the internet. Okay, so it may differ. In if you download the MySQL software server software from the internet and you install it inside your computer, it may happen that it may differ. Okay, so the MySQL server, that is 5.6, and that this 5.6 is the version number of the MySQL. Okay, now next I am going to discuss how to create a database. Okay, the first thing, after installing the MySQL server, and the first thing that is you have to create a database. Okay, so for create a database, you have to write a SQL statement or SQL command. Okay, so that is, the command is create database, database name, semicolon. That means create is the command, and the create command belongs to DDL command of the MySQL. Okay, and this create command is used to create a new database. Okay, that is, we are going to create the structure of the database. Okay, and the DDL the commands are used to create the structure of the database. Okay, and the create command, that is belongs to DDL command, we are going to use it to create the database. Okay, so you write the create, after that you write database and give a name of the database, and after that you give a semicolon. All of you remember that all SQL query or statement end with a semicolon. Don't forget to give the semicolon at the end of the SQL statement. Okay, and the database name. Okay, when you write the database name, you must be careful, because you give a name of a database which should be meaningful or descriptive. That means, for example, if I create a database name employee information system, okay, so I give the name of the database is employee information system. Now, by the name of the database, it is clear that the database, the name is employee information system, going to store different type of tables and data and information regarding the employees of an organization. That means by the name, it is helpful to the user to identify what type of data or tables or information we have inside the database. Okay, so you student, please careful, whenever you are going to create a database, you give a very meaningful name for the database. Okay, now when you create a database, it is stored inside the MySQL server. It is stored permanently inside that server. Okay, after that, if you want to open a database that is stored earlier, so for that, what to do for opening a database that is exists in the MySQL server? You have to write show database semicolon. That means you write the show command, and after that give the name of the database that you want to display. Okay, so when you give the database name along with the show command, you can view the existing database on the MySQL server. It will display a list of database that is present inside the MySQL server. Okay, now how to select an existing database? Okay, for selecting a particular database from the list, you use the command use. The name of the command is use. After that, you write the database name and give a semicolon. Okay. Suppose, for example, if I want to display the school database that is present inside the database list, so for that I write use school semicolon. So when you write this statement and you execute the statement, this display the database school on your computer screen. Okay, so this is how you create the database. You can create a new database, or you can select an existing database from the MySQL server. Okay, now next move to how to remove a database. Okay, suppose if you want to remove or to delete the database from the MySQL server, then you can do it by using the statement. That is, here we are going to use a command that is known as drop. Okay, so write the drop command. After that you write database, drop database. After that you write the database name. That means give the name of the database that you want to delete from the MySQL server. Okay, so student, here whenever you are going to delete a database, be careful, as because if you delete it, it is permanently delete from the database. Okay, so that's why this is that. So for removing the database, you use the drop command, drop database, and give the database name. Okay. Now I am going to discuss MySQL data type. Okay, so data types. Data type means what type of data you are going to use in a particular application. Okay, that means generally we use numeric data, character data, alphanumeric data, isn't it? Okay, now MySQL gives varieties of data types which are used at the time of table creation. Okay, so at the time of table creation, we are going to use the MySQL data types. Okay, as because table contains many fields and the fields are different in respect of data types. Okay, so when you are going to create a table along with the field name, you have to specify the particular data type for that field. Okay, so now the data type in MySQL can be determined by the following characteristics. So there are two characteristics through which we can determine the data type. Number one, the number of bytes it takes for storage. That means number of bytes. That means what amount of memory. You know, we can count the memory of the computer in terms of bytes. Okay, so the number of bytes, how many bytes it is going to take for storage. The next one is the kind of value it represent. That means what type of value it represent, whether it is going to represent any numeric value or decimal value or any type of character value. Okay, so these are the two point or characteristic that determine the different type of data types that is used in MySQL. Now in your book in page number 205, there is a table that display the different type of data types description with example. Okay, so now I am going to discuss it one by one. And the first data type, that is small int or integer. So this data type is basically used for numeric value or the whole number. That means the number that doesn't include decimal point. For example, if I want to specify a field for a table student, the name of the table is student, and there is a field named roll number. Okay, and that for roll number we are going to enter whole number, that is that number doesn't include any type of decimal point, so that you specify that field as int type, or you can write integer in full. In short, it is known as int. Okay, and next move to the next data type is float within round bracket size comma d. The size and d, these are the known as parameters or the arguments of the data type float. And the next one is decimal round bracket size d, size comma d. That is the size and d, these are the parameters for the data type decimal. And as the name suggests, the data type decimal or float, these are basically used for the factorial number, that means, or the decimal number that include decimal point. Okay, now if you write float and within round bracket you give the size, for example float 4, 2, that means the 4 going to store the total number of digit before the decimal point, and 2 that is used for the parameter d, that is going to store the total number of digit after the decimal point. Okay, so student, look carefully. The float within round bracket we are going to use parameters. One is size, comma, the next one is d. Okay, two parameters are used for the float data type. For again in the decimal we are going to use size, comma, d. These are the parameters. Okay, now the parameter size is the total number of digit, and the d represent the number of digit after the decimal point. That means size going to display the total number of digit, that is before the decimal point, and d going to display the number of digit, that is after the decimal point. Okay, and after that we have another data type, that is double, and the double data type also contain the parameters size, comma, d within the round bracket. And the double, this is actually used to store a large number of floating decimal point number. Okay, and the use of double and float both are same, but it is different in respect of capacity of that is the different that is the double going to store double amount of data value compared to the float data type. Okay, after that we have another data type, that is text data type, that is going to use for text value, and that is character within round bracket the size. We have the size. Okay, this is the parameter of the character data type, and we have varchar and round bracket the size. Character, this is used to store a fixed length string of 1 to 255 character. That means if you use the character data type for text value, then it is going to store string of 1 to 255 characters. Okay, the data is right pended to which space to the specific length. After that we have varchar, and this is also stored a variable length string of 1 to 255 characters. After that, the last data type that we are going to use for date and time, the first one is date. As the name suggests, this date data type is used to store date in the format of YY, MM and DD. That is YY, that is the year, and MM, this is the month, and DD, this is the date. After that, time. At the time, it is used to store the time format in SS, MM, SS, that is hours, minutes and second. After that, we have date and time. Sometimes we need to combine the date with time. Okay, so in the here we are going to use the data type date and time, and it is going to store date and time in the format YY, MM, DD, HS, MM, SS, that is year, month, day and hours, minute and second. And the last data type, that is year, and it is going to store the year in the database in the format of YY and YY. The first YY for the year, that is for example 2014, and the first YY going to store 20 and the last YY going to store 14. Okay, so these are the different type of data types we are going to use at the time of table creation. Okay, thank you.